नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। श्रीमद्भागवतम Canto 3, Chapter 23, Devahūti's Lamentation, Text 52. brahman duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāḥ patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam. brahman duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāḥ patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam. brahman duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāḥ patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam. Please chant.
Hare Krishna. Brahman duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāya patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam. Hare Krishna.
brahman duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāḥ patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam.
Hare Krishna.
duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāḥ patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam.
Hare Krishna. Brahman duhitṛbhis tubhyaṁ vimṛgyāḥ patayaḥ samāḥ kaścit syān me viśokāya tvayi pravrajite vanam. Hare Krishna.
Okay, word to word translation. Brahman, my dear Brahmana, duhitṛbhihi, by the daughters themselves, tubhyam, for you, vimṛgyāḥ, to be found out, patayaḥ, husbands, samāḥ, suitable, kaścit, someone, syāt, there should be, me, my, viśokāya, for solace, tvayi, when you, pravrajite, departed, vanam, to the forest. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My dear Brahmana, as far as your daughters are concerned, they will find their own suitable husbands and go away to their respective homes. But who will give me solace after your departure as a sannyāsī? Purport. It is said that the father himself becomes the son in another form. The father and son are therefore considered to be non-different. A widow who has her son is actually not a widow because she has the representative of her husband. Similarly, Devahūti is indirectly asking Kardama Muni to leave a representative so that in his absence, she might be relieved of her anxieties by a suitable son. A householder is not expected to remain at home for all his days. After getting his sons and daughters married, a householder can retire from household life, leaving his wife in the charge of the grown-up sons. That is the social convention of the Vedic system. Devahūti is indirectly asking that in his absence from home, there be at least one male child to give her relief from her anxieties. This relief means spiritual instruction. Relief does not mean material comforts. Material comforts will end with the end of the body. But spiritual instruction will not end. It will go on with the spirit soul. Instruction in spiritual advancement is necessary. But without having a worthy son, how could Devahūti advance in spiritual knowledge? It is the duty of the husband to liquidate his debt to his wife. The wife gives her sincere service to the husband, and he becomes indebted to her, because one cannot accept service from his subordinate without giving him something in exchange. The spiritual master cannot accept service from a disciple without awarding him spiritual instruction. That is the reciprocation of love and duty. Thus, Devahūti reminds her husband Kardama Muni that she has rendered him faithful service. Even considering the situation on the basis of liquidating his debt toward his wife, he must give a male child before he leaves. Indirectly, Devahūti requests her husband to remain at home a few days more, or at least until a male child is born. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all very much for joining in this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class at ISKCON Philadelphia. We are reading from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 23. This chapter is entitled Devahūti's Lamentation. And this verse is being spoken by Devahūti to her husband Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni had engaged in bhakti and also Ashtanga Yoga. By his sadhana means his spiritual practices, he got the results. So by Ashtanga Yoga, you get many Ashtanga, you get siddhis. But also he was a devotee. So whatever spiritual advancement he had made, he was more than happy to share with his wife, Devahūti. Actually, when the wife is chaste, she automatically becomes it is her right to receive half of the benefits of her husband's achievements. But this is only in case of a chaste wife. So then you have to know who's a chaste wife. Devahūti was a chaste wife. So we see that at the beginning of this chapter, how she served her husband, like goddess Parvati serving Lord Shiva, like that. So Kardama Muni was very pleased and he wanted to offer her. He was showing her all the results that he had attained. He was going to show her. But she said no. She was not interested. She wanted to have children from him the way a man and woman give birth to children, not through yogic process. And Kardama Muni fulfilled her desire, fulfilled his promise to her. And then we saw how he created, and he did it in such a wonderful way by the power of his yogic siddhis. For many, many years, they enjoyed in that aerial mansion, traveling to different places all over the universe. Kardama Muni had powers more than those of the demigods. He could travel anywhere in the 8 directions without any restriction. Finally, they came back to his hermitage on the banks of Bindu Sarovar, and then he expanded himself into 9 forms and impregnated Devahūti. So he expanded himself into 9 forms and he released semen 9 times. As a result, Devahūti conceived 9 daughters and she gave birth to them that very day. There was no pregnancy, 9 months, all that was not there. This is also the power, the yogic power. Both were yogis. Devahūti was also a yogini, by the way. And the daughters were so beautiful. And immediately they were born the same day and they were grown up also. Like the celestials, demigods, even the Rakshasas we see, they just grow up very quickly. There's no wasting time. So the 9 daughters, they were very beautiful. And after they were born that very day, Kardama Muni prepared to leave home. That's when it dawned upon Devahūti, what did I do? I had such a wonderful opportunity. I had such an exalted devotee as my husband. I could have taken advantage of his association to make spiritual advancement. But instead, I desired material results. Such a loss, isn't it? If you have a diamond Huh? And if you exchange it for a pound of tomatoes, it's like that. Bhakti is like that diamond. Bhakti can give you everything. Bhakti can give you everything. The highest perfection can be given by your devotional service. But if somebody uses that for some insignificant things, you do bhakti to make some material advancement or for liberation, it's not correct. So here was a great devotee. He could have given her, he could have initiated her into pure devotional service, or at least whatever he was doing, he could have brought her to that level. But she was not interested at that time. And now she is regretting, she is repenting. So what did Devahūti ask? Now she realized that my husband is going to leave me and my daughters will go away also. Daughters are not meant to stay at home. We cannot not follow Vedic system and at the same time imagine it's like, you'll just directly jump to pure devotional service. At every step, that culture is required. So the Vedic system is a woman is protected by her father in her childhood, and in her youth she is protected by her husband, and in her old age she is protected by her grown-up sons. What is the problem now? Current problem? Because there is no arrangement for old people. In Vedic society, because there is this system, family system is there, Grihastha ashram. Naturally, the older people are taken care of by the younger people. So they don't become a burden on the government, on society. Because of the current system of no system, people are not interested in taking care of their old parents. They want to leave them in old homes, or homes for the old age. What do you call it? I don't know. Old age homes. Where is this going to lead? Are we even thinking? Family members will take care of their elders. It's natural that family, a relationship, attachment is going to be there. How do you expect someone who's taking money is going to take care of you? It's not going to happen. And people become depressed in their old age. They try to commit suicide. And another thing is, husband's responsibility towards his wife. He has to make arrangements for her, even if he's going to take sannyas. That is also system. After 50, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that a householder is not expected to remain at home for all his days. Where is that? Are we even talking about it? Are we preaching that to our congregation? That you should leave home? And where will they go after they leave home? Do we have any such arrangement? A householder is not expected to remain at home for all his days. You know why? If he stays at home, it's not easy. It's very difficult. He will be with family members. He will get involved in family affairs. It's just a distraction. This is scientific. Otherwise, why there is vanaprastha ashram? To gradually detach from material affairs. These things are not just, to be studied in the books. These are meant for actually applying in life. But the whole problem is, even if we wanted to implement these things, where will we implement? We need to have our own society of devotees, with our own government, with our own kshatriyas for protection, with our own education system. And there we can have, that's called a Daiva Varnashrama society. Unless we have that, we cannot expect to make a long jump to pure devotional service. Yes, it can happen if somebody receives powerful mercy of a pure devotee, by which that person gets firm faith in bhakti, that immediately, instantly, he drops everything and he can surrender to Krishna. And depend on Krishna 24/7. Not depending on the management or anything, depending on Krishna. How many people get that type of surrender immediately as soon as you meet the devotees? Doesn't work like that. First, yes, you get some faith by the mercy of the devotee in their association. You get some faith and some taste. Now with that little faith, you have to hear the glories of Krishna, the glories of bhakti, about the lives of devotees who have surrendered their lives to Krishna, and how Krishna has protected them. By hearing again and again, one develops that confidence in bhakti, in Krishna, gradually. And then he's ready to surrender. When he gets full confidence, yes, my Lord is capable of protecting me, There are so many examples. He's protected Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara. He's protected Prahlad Maharaj. He's come for Dhruva Maharaj. He's come for Gajendra. And he himself is saying, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Don't worry, I will give you. But you don't get that confidence immediately. Or at least not everyone gets that. Most of us don't get that immediately. Then there is that gap before you fully surrender to Krishna. You get that firm faith in Krishna, in bhakti, in pure devotional service, that now I will simply do direct devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam 24/7. And Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam, ye jana paryupasate, tesham nityabhiyuktanam, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I will take care of him. I will give him. I will protect whatever he has. And I will carry whatever he's lacking. I personally will carry. Krishna is giving this assurance. But we don't have faith in that yet, isn't it? That's why we want to, keep some here and there also. That's not rejected. It's fine. But whatever work you're doing in this world, that work should not interfere with your progress in bhakti. That work, that association should not pull you down. Rather, whatever work you're doing for your livelihood, that should support your bhakti. Now we are all working for people who are not devotees. We are getting our livelihood, our maintenance from people whose goals are, who are demoniac, who kill cows, who eat cows, who are godless. And we are working for them like their servants, devotees. And most of our time throughout the day is spent in their association. Then how will we get that firm faith in bhakti? We are associating with the modes of passion and ignorance. If you're in the mode of goodness, that helps you. So my point here is, if we live even our material life means for the maintenance of this body. You have a social life, you have a personal life, you have families. Even this should be according to the instructions given in Shastra. We cannot separate material life and say, we can live in whichever way we like. We chant Hare Krishna, and by chanting Hare Krishna, we are going back to Godhead in this lifetime. Yes, if you chanted Hare Krishna like Haridas Thakur, yes, no doubt you'll go back. 1977, February 14th, in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada's conversation, a morning walk with Satswarup Maharaj and Harishori Prabhu. You will see in that conversation. They say, Srila Prabhupada, but simply chanting Hare Krishna, Satswarup Maharaj says, chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient. It will, we don't need to follow this varnashram system. Simply chanting Hare Krishna with, I'm paraphrasing, that will deliver us. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, but what kind of chanting? Chanting Hare Krishna means like Haridas Thakur. Who's going to introduce that type of chanting? Who's going to set example of that type of chanting? We need this system so that we can build faith to chant Hare Krishna 24 hours. We need this system. So when you say Varna Ashrama system, what is Varna Ashrama system? There are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. What are the 4 Ashramas? Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. One who is a Grihastha is not meant to remain a Grihastha all his life. Up to the age of 50. Srila Prabhupada himself set that example. Until and unless we take that step, we are not going to move as a society towards pure devotional service. This is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He inspired the Goswamis. Srila Sanatana Goswami has given us Hari Bhakti Vilas. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami has given Satkriya Sara Deepika. So these books explain how Grihastha should live. Devotees, we are talking about devotees. What type of samskaras they should follow. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has coined the term Daiva Varnashrama. Society must be divided according to these varnas and ashramas. And Srila Prabhupada also said 50% of the mission is still remaining. And when we read these purports, we see the importance. Yet, unfortunately, we are closing our eyes, towards this important aspect. Think about it. Majority of us are grihasthas. Really, the main problem is we are depending for our livelihood on non-devotees. This is the main problem. And most of our time is sucked away. Time and energy is sucked away by the non-devotee masters. This is not how we are supposed to live. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying a householder is not expected to remain at home for all his days. After getting his sons and daughters married, a householder can retire from household life, leaving his wife in the charge of the grown-up sons. That is the social convention of the Vedic system. If it is not relevant, why would Srila Prabhupada even mention these things? He could have said something like, in nowadays, these things are not practical, so let's just do the best we can. Of course, in the present, immediately we are not able to do it. That is understandable. But is there a plan to move in that direction? So that is one aspect about Vanaprastha ashram. How one has to give up household life at a certain point. in his life. Then there's another point about husband's duty towards his wife. Also, sons taking the responsibility of the mother. Whatever we have little bit, even if you see in India, in villages, whatever little you are seeing, it is still perverted. Because really, the society must be organized and led by a pure devotee, like Parikshit Maharaj, like Yudhishthir Maharaj. It's not going to be improved or rectified on its own. We are waiting for someone else to come and do it. Devotees have to do it. Devotees have to show the way to the society, how to live. So, the son has to take responsibility of the mother, grown-up mother, old mother. But here, another significant point is protecting does not mean just giving material comfort. Even when in some families the children are taking care of the old, at best they are giving some material comfort. But that's not what we are talking of here. Because ultimately, the success is ante narayana smriti. You have to prepare their consciousness so that they are able to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. You see, like Vidura. This is the compassion of a Vaishnava. He's a brother. Huh? He came back for Dhritarashtra. In his old age, he felt compassion for Dhritarashtra, that still shamelessly he's staying at the house of his nephews, whom he tried to kill in so many ways. But Vidur came back for the sake of Dhritarashtra. He preached to him very strongly. You are living like a dog. And then he made sure that at least, he got liberation. He didn't become a pure devotee, but, he took to the spiritual path. That is the responsibility of the son. Not just giving some medical help and, some material comforts. That's not rejected, but that's not all. Devahūti is indirectly asking that in his absence from home, there be at least one male child to give her relief from her anxieties. Why male child? Because it's the responsibility of the male child to keep his mother. Daughters will go to their husband's homes. So daughters will take care of their mother-in-law. It's not the daughter's responsibility. Of course, in case where the son is not there, then. But normally, it is the son. And also, real relief is spiritual instruction. Relief does not mean material comforts. Material comfort, these are all, it's really common sense. You feed a poor person today, his hunger is satisfied. What will you do tomorrow? So similarly, you give some material comforts, that is not ultimate solution. If you really want to help someone, you have to give them spiritual instruction. Because that spiritual instruction will not end. It will continue. Whatever progress a person makes, it comes in the form of, when you receive spiritual instruction, you know what happens, how it works, the science. When you receive spiritual instruction, along with it, with that instruction is coming the mercy of that person, of that devotee. Because of that mercy, when you hear this instruction, you are able to accept it. You are able to believe it. If you didn't get mercy, if you were simply given the book, scripture, by opening that book and reading, you may be a great Sanskrit scholar, you may understand the words, you may understand the meaning, but you will not believe in it. You will not accept it. You will not take it to your heart. That's why people memorize all the verses of Bhagavad Gita, but there is no change in heart. Until and unless you receive the mercy of a devotee, there won't be that transformation. And now you shouldn't say, oh, if we receive mercy, what's the need of scripture? It's a combination of both. By the mercy of the devotee, when you hear from scripture, you will believe it. You will develop faith in what you are hearing. And that faith is carried life after life. Even if you give up this body, you will still have that faith. That's why when people come to Krishna consciousness, there are different levels of faith. Some people take right away and others don't take it immediately. There are other factors also. Offenses is a big factor. So here it is said that material comforts, they are finished with the body. When the body is finished, material comforts are finished. But how are you helping that spirit soul for the future? So when you give spiritual instruction, now for you to give spiritual instruction, you should also have a proper spiritual standing. That's when you're able to give some mercy. Of course, we can act as instruments. We just carry it and give it. But still, to do that also, you should be engaged. All we have to do is to be proper instruments. All we have to do is engage your senses as much as possible, as much as you can, in direct devotional service. Direct devotional service means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. It's easier to do this when you are in the association of devotees. It is easier to do this when you are regularly in the association of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the association of devotees. When you are hearing it, you are reminded of it all the time. And that hearing itself is also direct devotional service. So when you engage your senses in direct devotional service, what happens is your senses, it's like keeping an iron rod in fire, like you put it directly in fire. When you're doing direct devotional, what is direct devotional service? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, etc. Not working, doing some job and earning money and giving that money as donation in the temple. That's not direct devotional service. Your working is not direct devotional service. That's karmarpanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected karmarpanam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting this Tattvavadis in Udupi. Tattvavadis are actually followers of Madhvacharya, but is a different line. So Mahaprabhu asked, what is the highest goal and what is the best means to achieve it? And their leader, the Acharya, said, the highest goal is to get mukti. Salokya, Sarupya, etc. You get mukti and go to Vaikuntha. And the best thing that you can do is follow Varnashrama Dharma and offer the results to the Lord. Mahaprabhu rejected it. Because in Karmarpanam, there is no direct devotional service. You're doing some karma, some work, and the result you're offering to the Lord. Direct devotional service is required. That is, direct devotional service is like fire. Chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hearing, studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Worshipping the deity. Preaching, yes, go, book distribution. Tell people about Krishna consciousness. Harinam Sankirtan. If you really want to progress in bhakti, you have to engage in these activities more and more. It's interesting. Here, you know why Kardama Muni is leaving? Of course, he won't leave yet, but we will see in the next chapter. After Kapil Bhagwan's appearance, he takes permission from Kapil Bhagwan. The Supreme Lord is in front of him, and he takes permission to go to the forest. For what? He's leaving the Lord and going to the forest for what? The Lord is in front of him. He said, now I want to do 24-hour bhajan of the Lord. 24 hours, I will do direct devotional service. Not as a grihastha at home with the wife and children, and I will also be doing. Even though the Lord is directly in his home, still. The reason is, if you're doing bhajan, the Lord will be there automatically, because wherever yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami aham, right? The Lord is saying to Narad Muni, wherever my devotees are singing my glories, I am there. I'm not in Vaikuntha, I'm not here, I'm not there. I'm there wherever my devotees are singing my glories. So Kardama Muni wanted to go to the forest so that 24 hours, Ashtayama Bhajan, he said, 24 hours he can chant the names of the Lord. If it is not important, why is he even doing that? He's setting an example for us. Yes, Vanaprastha ashram is essential so that you can intensify your bhakti. Prepare for that final exam. All of us here are, I think, over 40. So maybe over 50 also. So we have to take it very seriously. That's the point. Okay. So relief does not mean material comforts. Material comforts will end with the end of the body. But spiritual instruction will not end. It will go on with the spirit soul. So what is the spiritual instruction? That is mercy of the sadhu, mercy of the guru, the spiritual instruction. What is the spiritual instruction? Spiritual instruction is chant Hare Krishna, surrender to Krishna. This is spiritual instruction. But that faith doesn't come immediately because there are many doubts in our hearts. Doubts are of two types. Asambhavana and viparita bhavana. Asambhavana means impossible. Asambhav. Viparita means opposite. That means if Shastra tells you Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and immediately from within your heart, there are so many doubts in the heart. So this type of doubt is called asambhavana. It will say, how can Krishna be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He's a cowherd boy. He died by the arrow of a hunter. How can he be the Supreme Lord? He was stealing butter, so on and so forth. That means asambhav. Krishna cannot be the Supreme Lord. So these doubts are there in the heart. Then there is another type of doubt called viparita bhavana. Viparita means if you hear Krishna is the Supreme Lord, you'll say, why Krishna? Why not Lord Shiva? Why not Jesus Christ? Why not Allah? Viparita bhavana. So when you hear the statements of Shastra, immediately you don't get faith in that because there are doubts. These doubts have to be resolved. That's when you get firm faith and you'll go to pure devotional service. So all this will take some time for all these doubts to be resolved, for us to build that faith. So what should we do in the meantime? Srila Prabhupada is talking about the spiritual master also. Even when the spiritual master is accepting services from the disciples, he must give them mercy. That means he should have that potential to give mercy for their spiritual upliftment. Otherwise, if he's simply taking service from them, donations from them, and if he's not benefiting them spiritually, if he's not uplifting them spiritually, he will become indebted. He will become indebted. Srila Prabhupada says this in the context of Chaturmasya. During Chaturmasya, sadhus are traveling. I mean, they're traveling. Sadhus are traveling anyway throughout the year. But during Chaturmasya, now it's Chaturmasya starting, going to start. It's pouring outside. So, because of the rains, it's not convenient to walk, to travel. Sadhus traditionally walk from place to place. So they cannot, the roads are, it's muddy. They cannot walk. So they stay in one place, in a village somewhere. And simply at that time, Srila Prabhupada says, even no preaching, they're just staying there. Because Chaturmas, they do vrata. They chant so many rounds and all that. So they just stay in one place and they accept food that is offered by the villagers there. There also, by giving these people an opportunity to serve them, they are sharing their spiritual credits, whatever they have with those people. That means they're giving their mercy. If they don't have such credits, they should not accept service. So here it is said, Kardama Muni was accepting the services of his wife, who was surrendered to him. So it is also his responsibility to provide for her, not just materially, but especially spiritually. And what is Devahūti asking? She's asking fearlessness. Give me fearlessness. Fearlessness does not come without taking to spiritual path. You know how you get fear? First of all, the spirit soul is covered by avidya, ignorance. Avidya is a component of Maya, Mahamaya. Because of this avidya, now this Prakriti, material nature, avoids him subtle and gross bodies. In the subtle body, there is ahankar. Ahankar means false ego. Because of that false ego, now he identifies himself with the body. Because of avidya, he forgets that he is a spirit soul. Then when he gets the subtle body, in that there is ahankara, false ego, he will identify himself with that body. First of all, his knowledge that he is a spirit soul is covered. And on top of that, there is a second layer of covering, ahankar. That is giving him false identity. I am this body. When he identifies himself with the body, then he enters into dualities. Dualities means this is my friend, that is my enemy. This is happiness, that is distress, profit and loss. He enters into dualities. When he enters into dualities, what happens? Then there is fear. Why? You are fearful that you will lose the things which are dear to you. And you are fearful of getting things which you don't like. And everyone in the conditioned state, these are conditioned souls, is living in fear. Ultimately, there is the fear of death. Who can become fearless? This is the conclusion of Shastra. What is the conclusion of Shastra? One who surrenders to Krishna, one who surrenders to the Supreme Lord becomes fearless. That means anyone who does not surrender to Krishna remains fearful. All conditioned souls are living in fear. The only way to become fearless is to surrender to Krishna. Therefore, Devahūti is asking, please give me fearlessness. So by saying, give me fearlessness, what is she saying? Give me that firm faith so I can surrender to Krishna. How do you get firm faith? By getting instructions, spiritual instructions. Who will give those spiritual instructions? Spiritual master will give. But for her, her husband would have been her spiritual master, but she didn't take advantage. Then the next person would be her son. So she's saying, please award me fearlessness. So by that she's saying, stay long enough until I get a son who will give me fearlessness through spiritual instruction. And that we will see from the 25th chapter onwards, Kapil Bhagwan's instructions to Mother Devahūti. So one cannot accept service from his subordinate without giving him something in exchange. The spiritual master cannot accept service from a disciple without awarding him spiritual instruction. That is the reciprocation of love and duty. It's the duty of the spiritual master. The disciple serving the spiritual master is love and also duty. And the spiritual master awarding spiritual instruction, he's bound to do that. Both. So Devahūti is reminding her husband that she has rendered him faithful service. And at least even if he considered it from a material angle, she is his wife, he must give her a male child before he leaves. So we'll stop there today. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Or corrections?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Very powerful verse, powerful purport, lots of points that we have to really focus on. The one that I really, and even with the first reading, was what is the main point is to understand what it means, what Devahūti was looking for.
Yeah.
It is spiritual instruction. It is, it is that when we think of being taken care of in old age, we tend to think of it in terms of material comforts, but that is not what it is about.
Yeah.
So any one practical advice or instruction, what is one thing that we could all do to remind ourselves of that and understand it is not material, being taken care of materially? What one thing could we do in this? You have been reminding us all along through, most of us are above 40, most of us are above 50, and so what is it we could be doing to make that happen?
Help yourself before you help others. So whatever we want to give them, first we should have it ourselves. So we can share what we have. You want to give spiritual instruction to them. And what is that spiritual instruction? You want to give that faith to them, really. Instruction is not just, you have to give that faith to them. So for you to give that faith, you need to have that faith yourself. So it means, so it all begins with education. At least we should hear, like how we are hearing now and we are discussing. And the next thing after you hear is mananam. Mananam means contemplation. Contemplation on this. By that contemplation, those doubts will be resolved inside. And then your faith becomes strong. That really the most important thing in life is spiritual advancement. Material arrangements are secondary. We are not rejecting that. remember that story, which all the time in ISKCON temples, they play this drama of the boatman and this scientist, I think, and or not that, but the other one. This also, he doesn't know how to swim, but he knows so many other things, but still he got drowned. So there, swimming means what? Surrendering to Krishna, depending on the Lord. If you have that, then even if you didn't have other things, you're good. But the other thing I was thinking of was how when someone is drowning, if you simply pull the shirt out, it is not sufficient. You have to pull the person out. So paying attention to only material needs is like saving the shirt of the person. You must give spiritual instruction. You give spiritual instruction, but that spiritual instruction is effective when you are actually exemplifying it. Then it's effective. But even otherwise, if we, what to do? We have only that much faith. Give what you have, no problem. At least whatever we have heard, we'll share that. Whatever touched my heart, I will share it. Isn't it? So make sure one thing you're asking that you can do is, you can come up with your own, because it may not work for everyone, but maybe you read something every day. When you read, you catch one point, one message. Every purport has messages. And then share that with the person that you're taking care of. I read this today, and this is what Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, and this is the message. So you're giving spiritual instruction there. And this is so wonderful that as you're giving, you yourself are being benefited. This is the best way, actually. When you have to, giving classes is so nice, because when you have to give class, you have to prepare. Isn't it? You have to prepare your consciousness. You have to meditate on that subject so that you can speak. So when you share it with others, it doesn't have to be a class. If you make something like that, you make it a practice, right? I will share it with one person. When you take that responsibility, what is happening in the process is you're feeding yourself also nicely, spiritually. It keeps you engaged. And it's a win-win for both. What do you think, Mataji?
Definitely, that one point is very true. When you have to speak, you have to know what you are going to be speaking about. I think, there were several things I thought of as you were giving your answer. I am trying to, you said help yourself first before you can help others. The thing is, I'm listening to class after class, but still one foot is still in this way of life. What is it that is holding me back, and what is it I can do to increase that surrender more and more? One way I look at it is, if I am even a very tiny bit better than yesterday, then that is progress, yes, but something is still holding me back. What is it? I'm not asking you what is it that's holding me back, but what can we do because like you said, each one of us has a different set of situations that's holding us back or allowing us to progress. What kinds of things can we do to help us increase that surrender?
Association, powerful association. Powerful means surrender is a symptom of firm faith. Surrender is the beginning of pure devotional service. And that is the symptom. It is a symptom, just like the symptom of fever is high temperature. Like that, the symptom of firm faith is surrender. So you're saying something is holding me back from surrender. That means I didn't get firm faith yet. How can I get firm faith? It's a combination of mercy and hearing. So after you get mercy, you have to hear. You have to do your homework also. So association, hearing from those devotees who have that faith, hearing from those devotees who are surrendered, and whatever, because after hearing, you will get questions in your heart. Then you have to relieve them by discussing with them. And by doing this, yes, we will be taking steps forward. And also, it's not going to happen immediately. It may happen for some people, but in general, it's not a toggle switch, like our on and off, right? I turn it on and now I have full surrender. Doesn't happen like that. So, yes, you have to keep. Actually, that itself is a sign of surrender, where you are determined to take this path. It doesn't matter how many lifetimes it may take. But step by step, I'm moving forward. I'm endeavoring. When you come to the point of you're ready to endeavor continuously, no matter how long it takes, you're already having firm faith there. You're getting my point?
Yes.
So just taking that step that this is the path, this is the process, and I will hold on to this. I will keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it to build my faith. That faith is getting built already there. So you can assess by my approach to the process. Am I willing to keep endeavoring in spite of all failures? Am I still hopeful? And that hope is not in my ability. That hope is in the system given by Krishna. If I simply take shelter of the holy name, of the association of devotees, of the scriptures, of the path which is given to us, I am safe. And it may take any number of lifetimes. It's okay. That means we are moving towards firm faith. If we get that type of determination. It's not that this is material mentality, gross type of mentality, where, I pay and I should get the result now. So, utsahat, nishchayat, dhairyat, tat karma pravartanat, janasangascha, nahi, utsahat, nishchayat, dhairyat, tat sanga pravartanat. What is the next one? Sangatyagat, satovritte. Shadvir, bhakti, pranashyati. Right? Your bhakti will grow by these 6 symptoms. So, enthusiasm, determination, patience, holding on to the path which is given to us. Yes, you may fail, but keep trying again and again and again. Association. Give up materialistic association. That's part of what I was telling you about having our own Daiva Varnashrama communities means we will be in the association of devotees. Association and Sangat Tyagat Sato Vrite. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas who have chalked the path for us, following in their footsteps. Yeah. And we get strength to do all this when we are in association of devotees. So if you want to just boil it all down to one thing, seek out association of serious devotees.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
So I think we should end here. It's already past time. Thank you all so much for your kind and patient hearing. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Mancha
Kalpatarubhis cha, kripa
Vijay
sindhu
Patitanam Parnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo.
Nanda Koti Vaishnavi ki jai.
Vijay. Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Good to see you, Mother Archana Bhakti.